So once again, welcome everyone. My name is Hubert Inhäuser. I'm from PFC International, and it's my pleasure to be your host today on this webinar on the Romanian forest certification system. This webinar has the same agenda items as usually have on these webinars. First, I will deliver a short introduction about PFC International, just to help a bit of put in the context about how we operate and how these national and regional systems are joining this framework. And then the main item for today will be the presentation of the Romanian forest certification system by Lucian Filigan, who is from PFC Romania. And as I mentioned, if you have any questions, we will try to answer them, but please use the Q&A function to write down your questions. So with this, let us start. So the acronym stands for Program for the Endorsement of Forest Certification Systems. We are an alliance of independent national forest certification systems under the umbrella of PFC International. All of these national and regional forest certification systems are based on PFC sustainability benchmark standards, such as the SFM standard, or they are adopting the international standards, such as the chain of custody. This is a voluntary mechanism promoting sustainable forest management through independent third-party certification. And of course, we are very proud that we are the world's largest forest certification system and provider of 3/4 of the world's certified timber. On this map, you can see our global coverage. It's important to underline that the countries marked with dark green are PFC members with maintaining endorsed systems, and with light green, we have PFC members currently not with endorsed systems. And the blue dots are showing where we operate chain of custodies. As you can see that without an endorsed system, it's still possible to administer chain of custody certification. And just very briefly about the Romanian forest certification system. The system was submitted in May for assessment, and this assessment will be carried out by an independent assessor. And as part of this assessment process, we initiate a 60 days international public consultation. We opened it today, and the stakeholders will have the possibility to comment on this until 13th of September. We encourage everyone to join this. If you are just interested to take a look at the Romanian forest certification system documentation, you can access that. And of course, if you have something to say about this, please do so, because all of these comments will be considered in the assessment report by the assessor. And I think this is the time where I would stop and give the floor to Lucian Filigan, who is from PFC Romania. I hope that he was able to join us, and I stop sharing my screen. And Lucian, you can go ahead, please.
Thank you, Hubert. Hopefully you can hear me. Okay, great. So thank you very much for joining. I will start sharing my screen. Just a second. Okay, I think it's all good. Thank you. So today I will tell you a few things. First of all, about the Romanian forest, and then we will go to the system, the certification system. I will tell you because I think we should, first of all, to be able to understand where we are, probably we should know where we've been in the past. So I will have a little part of the presentation about this historical overview of the forest in Romania. Then we will tell you a few things about the forest at this time, then about biodiversity, economic value, and about SUMAL tracking system that Romania is using at this time. So, historical overview, we will go back to 1781, when we have the first official regulation regarding the exploitation and conservation of forest that appears in Transylvania. Transylvania was not yet part of Romania at that time. Then we have in Bucovina, Moldova, and Muntenia, following these regulations. What we know is that in the past, according to an academy professor that wrote in 1840, that the economy of the forests in Bistrița Valley, Bistrița is a big river in Romania, was in the saddest state. Throughout the temperate harvest of wood, through the numerous and beyond thinking sawmills, the entire Great Valley of Bistrița River with its sides valley is left without wood. So back then, people didn't really think about sustainability that much that we are thinking now for sure. So he also adds that in order to enlarge the grazing places for the sheep and cattle, the entire forest of several hundred joules are burned, and in this way, in a few hours, the most beautiful trees in the product of hundreds of years are lost. So not all the trees were used for industry. Actually, they just burned the wood because they didn't had what to do with it. Between 1919 and 1989, it was another period of sad period for Romania, Romania's forests. In 1931, there were 7 million hectares of forest in Romania. About 2 million were state-owned and 5 million private. But then after the Second World War, appeared a state company called Sovromlemn, and they used all the wood harvested in the forest and sent it to Russia to pay our debt after the war. They were harvesting in the 70s about 28 million cubic meters every year. And then in the 70s, there were a great flood in Romania. So Nicolae Ceausescu decided that we have to plant and recover the forest. They realized that cutting the forest and destroying the habitats and all that, it's not good. And it was a plan that spread until 2010. But of course, because of the revolution in 89, all that stopped. The forest in Romania had decreased from almost 9 million hectares, that was 40% of the country's surface at the beginning of 20th century, to 6.5 million hectares, that is 27% in the 70s. Then it was the period after the revolution when the restitution and the illegal logging appeared. 600,000 hectares of clear cut of thin forest as a result of the application of the first law of restitution. Back then, up to 1 hectare of the forest was restituted to the former owner of the forest, but there was no legislative and institutional instruments to comply with the forest regime, so they just went in the forest and cut the forest. Here you can see a better overview in the history, how the surface of the forest in Romania changed over the years. Today, Romania has 6.9 million hectares of forest to the terrain and about 2.35 billion cubic meters of wood stock. And according to the National Forest Inventory, the forest grows by 25 million cubic meters every year. Annual, we harvest between 18 and 20 million cubic meters. You see this 1% here because that means, and that shows that we actually harvest just 1% of the wood stock. In the graphic, you can see that 37% it's made of softwood, 32% of beech, 10.9 oak, and then other softwood and hardwood. 64.2 of forest is in public property, and it's mostly managed by Rom Silva. Approximately 1 million small forest owners with a median surface of 1 hectare per person. And the biggest private forest owner is Inca Investment. It's part of IKEA. They have about 50,000 hectares in the property. Romania is on the 8th place in Europe for forest coverage, today with 29% of the surface. Approximately 1/3 of the harvested wood is used for household heating. So you can imagine wood and forest are a big social issue also. We estimated that about 3.5 million houses use wood for heating and cooking. How much do we plant? We say and we believe strongly that in Romania the forestry is close to nature. So the forest has the ability to regenerate as long as the rules are respected. The owner is obliged to plant where the forest cannot regenerate within a maximum of 2 years after the harvest. Every year, about 50 million saplings are planted. And in comparison, there was a big campaign made by Bergen Beer, a beer company, and they sponsored about 50,000 fir trees, and it was a big campaign, but actually we plant a lot more without a lot of making so much publicity. About 70,000 hectares are natural regenerating every year, and by planting about 10,000 hectares. There are a lot of protected area in Romania. We have 13 national parks, 16 natural parks, 32 scientific reservations, 916 reservation and natural monuments, 3 biosphere reservations, wet zones with international importance 12, 2 geoparks, 72,000 virgin and quasi-virgin forests that are strictly protected, 1 UNESCO site that is the Danube Delta, and about 23% of the surface is covered by Natura 2000 sites. From biodiversity point of view, in Romania, we have 33% of the Danube length, 40% of the mammals in Europe, the biggest population of bears, wolves, and lynx. 23% of the surface is protected. 50% of the Carpathian Mountains are in Romania. 65% of the virgin forests in Europe are in Romania. It has 5 out of 11 biographic regions of Europe, the most in Europe. Over 50% of bird species in Europe, and there are over 300 species. The biggest wet zone in Europe, of course, the Danube Delta with over 5,000 species, and the biggest compact area covered with the reeds in Europe. From economical point of view, we have about 14,900 companies that are working in wood industry. More than 1.5% of the GDP is directly generated by the forestry sector and wood-based industries. The cumulative contribution reaching approximately 4.5% of the GDP, considering the indirect and induced effects of the economy. Forest and wood-based industries had in 2021 a share of 7% of the total national exports, the largest contribution in the export value being given by finished products, mostly furniture. 9,860 million euros gross added value in the forestry sector and wood-based industries, and over 330,000 jobs, of which 158,000 directly supported jobs. SUMAL 2.0 is the informational system that is developed by the Romanian state that tracks the wood from the forest to the log yards and farther from that. Everything that is made out of wood is tracked and followed by this system. Inspectorulpădurii.ro is the website that it's public and has public information about all this wood that is traveling through Romania, and you can go and check and see all that. You can see the maps, the plots. You can also see the detailed of the protected areas, pictures with the trucks or the way of transport, the volume, the species, the companies that are making the transport, the date, all the information is public. Also, you can see the track where it's coming from and where it's going to. So with all that, we have a lot of fake news going through media that we are losing all the forest, that we harvest more than double illegally, more than double that we harvest legally. that we cut but we don't plant, and all of fake news that can be there. But the truth is that the forest grows. If you go to Brașov, that is a very beautiful city in Romania, right in the middle of the country, you will see this mountain that is covered by forest. These guys here in the picture are actually forestry students, and the same forestry students with the same mountains. Back in the 60s, you can see it was no forest, almost no forest on it, but now it's covered by it. So the forest grows. If we manage it sustainably, we don't have any problems with that. About the certified forest, right now we have 653,612 hectares that are PEFC certified, 2.8 million hectares that are FSC certified, and 3.1 million hectares that are not certified. State-owned forest is fully certified FSC and PEFC. There is no double certification. From chain of custody point of view, we have 74 PEFC COC certificates in Romania. You can see here a lot of big companies that are actually coming from all over the Europe and working and developing in Romania, but also Romanian brands and local brands. Certification bodies. We don't have any local Romanian certification body. They are all coming from other countries like England with Soil Association, that it's the certification body accredited for forest management certification in Romania. But for chain of custody, there are more others that are having auditors and activity in Romania. A little words about PEFC Romania, that was founded as an NGO in 2016 and joined PEFC in November 2016. The national SFM standard was approved at national level on 29th of May 2017. Then the Romanian Forest Certification System achieved PEFC endorsement in June 2018. The revision process, of course, was ended in 2025, and the system was submitted for assessment, like Hubert said, in the 3rd of June 2024. The public consultation will be between 5th of July and 13th of September 2024. The review process. So the national system went to compliance analysis in 2022, and we decided that the revision will be made because the changes in the benchmark standards at international level. We started a public invitation for participating in the forum. The PEFC Romania forum was launched in 29th of May in 2023. And in July, we had the first meeting with the development start. The forum was composed in an open and balanced manner of stakeholders divided into 2 chambers and interested in sustainable forest management in Romania. The forum is responsible for establishing and reviewing PEFC sustainable forest management rules, and Romanian standards for sustainable forest management are developed and reviewed by this forum. It was created during the review work until the adoption of the final document, and it's composed of stakeholders interested in sustainable forest management in Romania. It has 3 chambers: the Forest and Forestry Chamber, the Forest and Market Chamber, and the Forest and Society Chamber. I let you just read this in the recording. So 41 stakeholders were invited. Of course, it was open for anyone that was interested to participate. They had 1 month to register for the forum. From this, we choose 11 stakeholders to form the PEFC forum. And we had, in the Forest and Forestry Chamber, Tornator and Gringold, that are forest owners, Nostra Silva and Rom Silva, that one is Rom Silva is the administrator of the Romanian State Forest, and Nostra Silva is the Association of Private Owners. We had in the Forest and Market Chamber, HS Timber Production, EGA Romania, Kronospan Trading, ASFOR and Prolem, The first three, probably you know, they are one of the biggest, three of the biggest processors in Romania. And as Forum Problem are associations from industry. And from the Forest and Society Chamber, we had environmental NGOs, Romontana, Plantăm Fapte Bune, Pădurea de Mâne, and from universities, a few professors, Mr. Halalishan, Mr. Nicolescu, Mr. Drogoe, Nikiforel. And from social, we had two associations, the Progresul Silvic and Federația Sindicatelor Silva, that are foresters associations. The meetings were held, first one in 31 of July 2023 online. Then we had two working meetings online in 19 of 10 of 2023 and 29 of November. And then we had one in January and one in February in person, actually in hybrid format, because we give the possibility for the members who couldn't be in person to join online. But we worked in a way that the draft was permanently available on a dedicated shared file, and the forum participant could intervene over the draft all the time. So we had a very open and very inclusive way of working. The document was continuing changing even between these official meetings. The draft was publicly available on the PFC Romania website for public consultation. The duration was 60 days at national level. Also, invitation for stakeholders were sent by email to 59 contacts with reminders emails at 25 days remaining and 5 days remaining. Constant post of official Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn PFC Romania official pages. But despite continuous effort to engage the stakeholder to comment or come with proposals, this didn't happen. PFC Forum voted by email, postal ballot, the final document to be approved. The vote was organized between 20 and 24 of May 2024. So on 27 of May 2024, the PFC Romania General Assembly formally adopted the final version of the forest management standards through an online vote. The revision covered the entire Romanian PFC scheme. Actually, the changes were pretty significant. I added this table so you can just have a look and see what we did change. I'm not going to go through them because it's a lot of information, but I want just to say a few of them just to underline that, of course, the PFC Romania Sustainable Forest Management Certification Scheme, that was the standard 8000, was structured following the PFC benchmark from 2018. And it includes the Chapter 8 that was in the past in the another annex of the standard. The PFC Romania Forum decided that to change some of the definitions due to EUDR, the deforestation-free regulation, and because of Romanian Forest Code. We conclude that the standard cannot be against the law, but can go beyond it. The new Annex 8 with the group certification, of course, we also followed the benchmark from 2018 from international level for group certification. The Annex 3, the chain of custody of forest and tree-based product, was approved, and also the requirements for the certification bodies operating certification against PFC International Chain of Custody Standard, but also the new 1004 from 2024, very fresh approved standard for certification bodies operating certification against PFC endorsed forest management standards. We have also, with minor changes, the Annex 1 with criteria indicators. Some requirements that maybe are interested. We decided that we have the situations where some log yards are used by the forest owner or the forest administrator, and in the standard was not clear how they are going to deal with this wood that is certified and it's going to their log yard. So we decided that we will clarify that in requirements 4.3. And also we added a line also because of UDR, where the organization must provide the client holding a PFC chain of custody certificate with any relevant information required, such as the geolocation of the plot or the polygon in case of area larger than 4 hectares, allowing him to carry out information collection and risk analysis within the PFC due diligence system. We had a very interesting and long discussion about what is happening and how we can reduce the risk when actually the forest administrator or the owner is involved in the illegal activities. So in chapter 6315, we said that in the situation where violations of the law occur, namely in the case of crimes to the forestry regime or corruption or fraud, where the criminal investigation has been initiated, the owner or administrator of the area in question will not sell certified material for these areas. This restriction is valid as long as there is a suspicion that the possible crime has been committed by its own personnel and who are still within the organization and participate in the forest management process. The restriction also applies in the case of serious violation of occupational safety and health legislation due to the fault of the organization's own staff, which led to incapacity to work or death according to the legislation. So hopefully this will work in practice. We will see how it goes. Then we more clarified that the organization should promote and explain as much as possible what forest certification and voluntary commitment to it is, including signage or on information boards displaying in certified forest and the use of PFC promotional labels. And for the service providers, such as harvesting of timber or non-wood products, planting and execution of forest works and management activity, the organization shall ensure the providers have contractually committed to comply with sustainable forest management requirements according to PFC standards. And we explain better in 6344 what unwanted sexual harassment behavior and disrespect consist of any unwanted verbal or non-verbal or sexual harassment and or disrespect behavior in the workspace if the purpose of results of such conduct is to violate a person's dignity, humiliation, or create an offensive environment. So in the Annex 1, criteria and indicators for forest management evaluation in Romania, we have now 66 indicators, 25 sub-criterion, and 6 criteria. In the past, there were 65, so only one plus. So this is my presentation. Thank you very much. And if you have questions, I will always be available for you. You can go on pfc.ro website, search my contact and contact me by email or phone.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Lucian, for this very brief but very comprehensive presentation. I think it was very interesting to start from the past, how it was looked after the forest resources and what kind of level of details you are trying to incorporate in this new set of requirements. And I don't see any questions for now from the floor. So maybe until one will come up, allow me to ask me one, that besides, of course, the EUDR, was there anything which was maybe required a bit more development work from the Romanian working group, or as it's very often the case in Central European countries, that your legislative framework generally covers most of the requirements, or at least a bigger amount of it?
Well, actually, yes. The legislation in Romania is extremely complex, and we consider that pretty much covers the requirements as they are. So from this point of view, we just wanted to to be compliant with legislation, first of all. And we have a new forest code that is being developed right as we speak. So we had a draft in view before starting to work to the standard, but because we don't exactly know how the new forest code will look like after it's coming out from the parliament, we couldn't just take it fully under consideration until it's not ready. But we had a look on that, and of course UDR and other European legislative and requirements that are being developed right now. So yeah, legislation was a very big, let's say, argument, and it was taken under consideration very strongly.
All right, thank you very much for that additional explanation. I think it really gives a good starting point for everyone who is interested in the Romanian's forest certification system. As I mentioned, that we opened the public consultation today, and you have the chance to access this documentation and have share your views and comments until 13th of September. And I think with this, I would like to thank everyone for taking the time to watch this video and for joining us today. And special thanks goes to Lucian to be available and explain all of these details about the Romanian forest certification systems. And with this, we come to the end of this episode of this consultation webinars. And I wish you a lovely rest of the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
Goodbye.
Take care. Bye-bye.